1, 2, 3, test, test, test. All right, that sounds good. Das ist this. Oops. Offline, live stream, labels. I'm just starting with the setup, so give me just a second to get all that stuff handled. But hey, Taulan, can you give me a hint if you can hear me well and the music is not too loud or annoying or anything? That would be fantastic. Hey Hamish, nice to see you. How are you today? Everything fine? Can you see me well? So I don't have yet a ripple, that is all that stuff. Be right back, offline, live screen. I think that will be the live screen in the future, but here I have to change all that. So here's the background, delete me. Nope. So you see there is a lot of going on, so I'm trying a bit myself around. So if there is something wrong, just give me a hint, as always with the live streams. Perfect, thank you, Amateur Coder. Hope you are well. Perfect. So now let's check that out if I can remove this background here, and we can maybe add here our nice little screen. This is still the Mac, so if it's like a skyrocket in the air, then this is again the Mac. Nothing has changed there. So this is that, let's put it here, and now we want to have our... It's not like I'm sitting here half an hour and try to prepare everything and do it now last minute. It's just I wanted to take a bit the advantages, so I'm sorry if something is wrong here. And I want to add still the window, no, the display here. Yeah, I know. Wait, here's the monitor. I think with that everything gets more clear what we are doing here. Stretch to the screen and bring it down. So, hey, looks not too bad. Let's see. Maybe we have to move the camera a bit, but it's getting better. Yeah, I think we set up now the computer, the Windows computer, way better, so it's getting slowly better with all that stuff, and maybe the Windows computer will be our streaming or working machine in the future, but let's see, let's see. So this is also ready. Here we can maybe enter already Rody Davis. And what was the voting actually? Let's have a look there, because I'm not sure how it's off, but I think Widget Studio was the winner, right? So everyone is interested in the new feature of Rody Davis. He made a great job with his new tool. It's amazing. But yep, Widget Studio won the race. All right, so we want to create an app with Widget Studio, and what we have here is we have the possibility to work with the... Hey Kyle, hope you are well. We have the possibility to work with Widget Studio, so if you don't aware of it, you can also exit the Widget Studio from Rody Davis by the browser. And what I did already to prepare everything, I was starting with the Widget Studio from MacOs. Learn some cool stuff. Yeah, well, Flutter is amazing. I'm coming myself from an Angular angle, so it's crazy how good it is, to be honest. I learned a lot in the last year, and now with the great community that we set up with the FlutterExplained, it's getting better and better. It makes a lot of fun. Yeah, already 10 people, crazy. But yeah, we want to work with the... Whoop, thank you. No, that was actually worse. Marta, can you turn it off again, please? Sorry. I think it's a bit better if I'm... The best way to learn it, is really to just start it, to write your own first apps, going into it, working with the basics and just trying to create something is the best way. Don't give up. I can refer you to my first live streams. I think I took them offline. Maybe I should add them again. My first live streams were absolutely terrible, and it took me a lot of time to learn all the tricks. And yeah, share your knowledge, share Flutter, try it yourself. I think one of my first apps was a Scrum card app, which I also wrote a Medium article about it, and it helped me a lot. And next week we have maybe something for you that you are maybe interested in, especially if you are a beginner in that area. Sense Solu, hey, from Turkey, very nice. Okay, but without further ado, let's get a bit started, right? So I already started the Widget Studio for Mac. So this is really a Mac application which is written in Flutter and prepared in Flutter from Rody Davis. I think I mentioned that already. And the cool thing about this is now it is written itself in Flutter. And why is it important for us? Well, everything that we can create in Flutter can be created inside of here. I'm not sure if it is fully fledged now that it can do everything, but it has already a lot of good ideas, and it led to very good packages in the pub.dev space, like for example the storyboard package and so on. Exactly. So that is really something. So there were already some in the browser that you can create your applications by just drag and drop everything. But this time it is a bit more special because you get like a fully fledged browser with all the information that you need. And we will take today the first look into it and want to start with it. Is there something on GitHub? I'm not sure about that. We can take a look. So let's go to github.com. Sorry, wrong browser. Yep, here we go. And let's search for Widget Studio. It's a good question. I don't know if it's publicly available. No, I thought so. So no, there maybe Rody Davis, but I can't imagine that he published it online for everyone to see. Gmail clone. So this is Rody Davis. I maybe post his link to the GitHub repository because to the comments, because he created a lot of fantastic repositories, a lot of packages that are just wow, really. And he shares so many stuff with the community of Flutter. Highly recommend to take a look into into his packages. But yeah, I think he didn't publish it as an open source library, the Widget Studio. So it is really just for buyout or on widget.studio and on the internet page where you can use it. So yeah, but let's go back. We have now here our Widget Studio. And as I said already, you have all the parameters on the right side. We can do a lot of stuff. The thing is, I didn't had a look into it so much. I just wanted to learn it and see it the first time with you guys today. So we make that a little bit blind, and I just show you how I would start working on that. So first of all, I will always take a look into the settings just to see what can we do actually with it. And I see right now my camera is pretty big, but I will keep that for now. Maybe I can also bring a bit more light. I don't know if this helps or makes it worse. I don't know. Is it better or worse? But in the settings itself, we have some options, right? We can make the light theme, and I think that is for the stream a bit better, because for the stream, it is a bit easier to read and see everything, I think. And also my webcam, no, I wanted to move it a bit. Whoop, and move it down here. Yeah, down here maybe. And what you can see now is we have some options. Yeah, more light is good. Perfect. Happy to hear that. So what you can see here is actually we have on the bottom side, we have on the bottom right side, we have the different widgets that exist for Flutter, right? So not all of them, but a lot of them. So for example, material widget, app bar, center, column, container, floating action button, icon, and so on and so forth. And they live all down here. Yeah, true. I don't like light theme usually, but I think dark theme is very hard for presenting stuff. Okay, so I can also... So, yeah, but what you can see now, whenever I drag and drop something of these parts here, so for example the app bar, and I will put them up here, you can see we immediately get an app bar. And as I said, everything is written in Flutter. So this is actually a Flutter widget that is immediately inside of the view, right? So we can directly work with that. And that is fascinating. So that is pretty fascinating because it takes a lot of the hassle away and we can directly work on our apps. And if you click up here on this code editor icon, we can already see the code. So it is generated, it tells you in the comments here, but you get also the path where it lives. And you can now just, and on the top right here, it's very small. I don't know if I can increase the size here. No, not really. But you can see we have here 3 icons like copy, download, and a plus icon is just creating a new widget. It's great to use apps to reduce blue light. Yep. I used the tool sooner than later, especially for that problem with the eyes. I think it was called Flux. Don't know if you heard about it, but Flux is like it helps you to reduce in certain times the color, and then it's getting more yellowish in the evening, and with that it's better for your eyes. So it's maybe something that you are interested in. Cool. But what we also can do if we have now that app bar, right? We see that on the left corner because here is our widget tree completely in the right side. So we have first our app name. If we change that up here, I think we can change the class name here. So if we call that widget instead of square haze, whatever, we could call it, for example, dashboard. Or can we? Do you want to delete the widget? No. Dashboard. We can change the path here also to dashboard, but somehow I can't change. Now I can change the class name. Let's go to dashboard. So now we have our dashboard. We have that created, and let's give it, for example, a text inside. So you can see also the different parts are immediately shown you as where the widget will be automatically, right? Because this is a material app, or better, the app bar is a material app. We get the different possibilities. And what is happening if I show description? Oh, interesting. So we get a small hover here. I think it's pretty hard to read in the stream. But here's app bar and material design app bar. And app bar consists, and that is pretty fast. But you will get some more information about the widget itself inside of the tooling. So that is pretty helpful. So let's search for it. So if we go app bar, Flutter API, then we should get like a material library for that. And you can see a lot of more, but I think what I would like to see is if Rody Davis creates more around that we maybe get a link to the API. That would be fantastic. So that we just click on app bar here and we come to the API maybe. That would be really cool. Okay, but let's go further. So we have our text up here, our title, right? And as you can see, the widget tree creates the text and the text style. And now let's have a look. What do we have here? We can wrap our current widget, which we don't want, but what we can do is changing the text for now, right? And we have here the data. And here we want to have dashboard, for example. So now we have the dashboard and we need a good name. What should be our app today about? Do you have a topic or something that you are interested in? The sensitivity of the mic. Okay, I will. So creating. The filter is gone. Oh, sorry for that. Yeah. Somehow my noise suppression filters are gone. Up. And also that should do already the trick. A simple counter app. Yeah, sounds good. So what do you think about the mic? Is it better? Okay, I like the idea with the Google Maps. Maybe we can do that afterwards or as a second thing. I mean, we have 2 hours or more today, so we have to get some challenges. Okay, but I think a counter app should be easy enough at the beginning. So we change our name from dashboard to counter app. And what does a counter app needs? Of course, it needs a nice little floating action button on the right side where we have an icon inside, right? So we take our icon, put it in. And you can see also here the widget tree getting nice little ordered here. So we can see everything like we need it. Now let's change the icon to, well, it's a counter, right? So we need a plus icon, I think. Is the microphone better now? I hope so. But what you can see is if we select an icon, we get all the material icons right away, which is pretty neat. So we can search for it, we can filter it. And what we also can do is just selecting one of the list. Maybe here in the future, it would be good if we can select them like in categories, that we have specific categories for some parts. And what I can't see yet is also to have custom icons. So this is also something that maybe has to come in the future. But I like that gradient up here that takes the color a bit away and so on. I think it's a really cool solution so far. It's way better than searching for the icons yourself inside of the naming list. So that's that. And now we want to have a center widget here, which contains a text widget. Sensitivity a bit more. Yeah, sure, can do that. So, is it now better? I'm sorry for the mic. It's sometimes a bit strong. What is the problem with the microphone? Do you hear any noises, or is there anything that my voice is too loud, or? Perfect. All right, cool. So in this text, we want now to have the collection of the counter, right? That we get increasing all the time. So that is interesting. So counter is, or how is it in the real counter app? I always see the counter app and delete it all the time, but somehow works for me, no problem, perfect. Like to hear that. So everyone gets the perfect thing here. So I start now Android Studio Code for a second because I need the basic sample app that we usually have in the Flutter application. So I can just clone that for now. So easy counter. And I create everything. Shouldn't take too long. It's just that I have a visualization of the counter app that is existing usually. So what do we have? Yeah, I don't know why I'm adding that code at the end all the time. It's like Android Studio and Visual Studio Code, but somehow Android Studio Code is in my brain. I don't know why. Okay, let's start an emulator and run the whole thing. And the Mac is going again to places. So, come on. Even worse is it if you are starting to work with Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code, and sometimes you use even the possibility from JetBrains, then it's getting completely confusing, because then yeah, I'm working with Visual Studio for that. No, that other one. Somehow he don't recognize my emulator. Okay, so with that we have to change a little bit. Change of plans, I'm sorry. So we have to go to, where's my stuff? Nope, Okay, easy counter app. Let's do it ourselves. If it doesn't exactly match the default one, then we will learn something. Oh, so we have the text here. When you don't have the same plugins from Android Studio when you use VS Code. Yeah, I use both of them from time to time because it depends on what I want to achieve. Visual Studio Code and Android Studio works fine for me, both, and I can work with them easily. But yeah, it's highly, it depends. So counter, and now I want to have the number. That's getting interesting. So how can we add a number here? I think we will need for this, we have the text, and what I would do now in my tooling is something like that, and would say something like number or counter. But I see already that doesn't work. Okay, so how do we create now a variable? Is that even possible inside of Widget Studio? What do we think? We have the app bar, delete widget, body. Okay, this is still the scaffold. We have the text. So container, center, text direction. So it seems that is more a visual thing, right? We are not able to just create a counter like so. Soft wrap. This is just the alignment, text direction. We get some keys. Oops. And we can add the styling, which is then this text style. But it really looks like we can't create a fully fledged app out of it. It is more to create the visualization of an app. But still, can we change something here? No, right? We have the route name, which is helpful. Debug fill properties. We get some keys here inside. Interesting. Press on fab. All right, let's take a look here. So we have the fab button here. Autofocus, key, child, icon is extended. But I think it's exactly the same problem, or there is no event handling that we can do. Is extended, mini, background color, disabled. Maybe on the icons, but right click is also not possible. No, so clip behavior, no, clip behavior is more for images, I think. Is extended, mini, no. So we will not be able to create a fully fledged app, I think, but what we can do is creating the user interfaces for that. And if you remember, we have the Adobe XD thing that we have for the other live stream. And what I would like to try to create now is the same, maybe the same possibility here, that we maybe create a screen like this here with the background image and everything. Maybe this is possible. Because I think the changing of things are not possible yet. What is that? Hard edge? And this is just for the clip behavior. So if we would have an image somewhere, we can clip the corners and rounding them and everything. I don't know if it's better code. I don't know. It is just that it takes the responsibility from us a bit to create all that stuff. iPad Air, and also we have the device preview already installed. Really, Rody Davis put all the good packages together that we can work with that, so we can see all the different devices immediately. That helps us a lot. Make it more beautiful. Show the keyboard. Can rotate. So it is more like and yeah, instead of Adobe XD, we would create our applications here inside, I think. So for example, if we have our own thing, So let's assume we have this dashboard. So how could we recreate this? I think a sliver is not existent yet, but we can at least take a picture up here. So if we would add a new screen that we would call maybe, let's call it recipe dashboard, and create a route for it. So recipe, we have an own path for that. And then what can we do next? Now we have again a scaffold. We have the extend button, drawer open, wrap current widget. We don't want to. Key app bar, body, floating action button. Ah, so we can also navigate by that, by these different values. Interesting. We have the hover color and so on that we can change here. Also the focus color. But let's stick with our view. So we want to have an image on the top. Let's see. How would we do that? We could create or add a content for that, a container for that. Or a column better said. So we have a column inside because we have multiple things inside, right? And the first one would be a container. So let's see. And this container, oh nice, it gets the box container. We can add margins and paddings with that easily. And that automatically adds the padding and margin to it. That's pretty cool. So, but how can I add an image? That would be a decoration, right? A box decoration, for example. So, is it possible to add a box decoration? Clip behavior, none, column, color, widgets, nope. Huh. All right, so we are coming to quite a lot of limitations at the moment, and I'm a bit sorry about that. I was not aware of that. I just wanted to test it a bit out. But it seems that we can't add a decoration or something like that. Or do we have any other chance? I think that's it. So it's a bit sad. Column icon, row, icon button. What would happen if we create like a column in a column? It would actually work. Usually this would crash in a normal application, I think. Yeah, well, I think it's a preview. I don't know, has Rody Davis written something in the App Store? Let's take a look. Working with the Clary framework can be great building layouts very quickly, predicting UI builder such as Xcode, storyboards, or Adobe XD. With Widget Studio, you have the flexibility to prototype a layout with a drag and drop builder, custom settings with drop buttons, pick colors. Okay, so it wants to try to recreate Adobe XD. It won't? A column in a column wouldn't crash the app? Really? I would say so, because it has an infinite height and the other one has also an infinite height, which should lead to a crash or not. But you know what? We are developers, we can take a look. I don't know. So now, hopefully my loading. No. Oh yeah, you're right. And he uses 2 of these brackets. Yes, so exactly. I think it will try to make a design tool out of it so that you have something like Adobe XD. So Kyle is writing that right now. And I think that is exactly what it tries to do, that it's just an Adobe XD edition so that we can have a very easy creation of that stuff and then having just downloading the finalized UI more or less so that we can directly work with that. I'm really looking forward how or where this application going in the future. Maybe it will also work with block. We don't know that yet, right? Because Rody Davis has just started with this process, and I think he just wants to show what it is all possible with the different parts on Flutter itself. So it is more like, yeah, a skeleton for your app, exactly. But now I want to run our Flutter example here, and because my Android Studio is fighting me, I will just do it like this. And I will make that also again small. So we have here our simulator. But maybe it will also work in the future with the different options, like for example a gesture. For example, I would really love to see a navigation between one screen and another, because we have the it basically gives you the access to quickly whip up an app UI. Yes, exactly. How do the export anyway work? So for example, we would create here something cool. So we would add an app bar and another app bar, because we have two of them. Then we add an app icon button up here, and that icon button gets any icon in the meantime. Where's the icon? Ah, the icon is here. Ah, we have to add an icon to the icon button. So, and now the icon itself gets like this one. And maybe, can we set the color? Yeah, here. So make it green. I like green. So, and now let's see if I can export, or how I can export all of that. So we have these two screens, right? And if I download them now, how would... Did something happen? Widget code copied to clipboard, okay. And the other one does nothing. Okay, that is maybe for iPad or something. So let's copy this one and add that to our screen list here. And in the meantime, okay, this is our counter that we usually have. So what would happen if we create a new file, widget studio.dart, and we just add this part here inside. And now we have that recipe dashboard, diagnosticable tree mixin. Okay, and the on press is necessary. Okay. Oh wow, even the color gets some weird numbers here. So yeah, I think there is still a lot of work to do for Rody till it is really production ready for everyone to use. But still, we have already a solution that's pretty cool. So hot reload, and as you can see, it works already. So at least I get my result very quickly, right? So even the color of the icon and everything works pretty well. Even though I wouldn't like to have it like this. Debug properties. Where do you see debug properties? You mean this down here? Or is it somewhere else? Yeah, I think that comes from this diagnostical tree mixin. And if we take a look here to string shallow, string deep, diagnostic mode. Let's have a look. A mixin that helps you dump strings in diagnostic node representations of tree. This mixin is identical to diagnostic tree. A base class for providing string and diagnostic node debug representation describing the properties and children of an object. I don't know, to be honest. I thought we can find it somewhere here in the documentation together. Debug fill properties. It would be great to see where it come the override from. So if it is an override, is it an override from the stateless widget? Let me give a second. Ah, yeah, here we go. Called when a dependency of this state object changes. For example, if the previous call of build referenced an inherit widget that later changed, the framework would call this method to notify this object about the change. Interesting. No, did change on dependency. Where is it? Add additional properties associated with this node. Okay. So use the most specific diagnostic properties subclass to describe each property instead of the... I could imagine that that the Widget Studio is using this method to receive more information from this properties class. So it is possible to read out all these different properties on the right side of the widget. So for example, extended body, in which is it true or false, or has it a specific value already, or something like that. So if we restart the application, then it will automatically get the information from there. Oh, you're right. And my internet, and it seems that my internet is still working pretty good. But maybe we can change that. I should be on cable too. So let's see. Yeah. Usually I'm off the turn Wi-Fi, but careful. Let's see if I'm still there. Yeah, looks good. Okay, to be frank, I'm a bit disappointed. Yeah. Oops. At least at the moment, it is still not good enough to create something cool out of it, I think. Do you have an idea what we should do next? Or should we keep with the Widget Studio and create something? Material. This is how I work. I just turn off the Wi-Fi and let's see what happens. Okay. But interesting enough, so we have this diagnostic mode, which allows us to find more properties about the whole thing. So for example, enum properties, iterables, and so on. And as I said, I think the Widget Studio is getting the informations from here on the right side out of the properties. So that's why this code is added everywhere. We can take a look. Maybe we find something also in the API itself. So what happens if we search for that? Like Flutter API. Yeah, so it is exactly the same. But the idea is great, so that means I can read all the information about a widget inside of itself, so that is pretty cool. String, double, percentage, exactly, so everything is there. Okay. So what was the second part? We have the Widget Studio. We created here a lot of stuff, and let's make that now at least a bit beautiful that we managed anything with that. And how can I remove a widget is, for example, a good question. We can move that up. Delete widget. Okay, so we managed to get rid, and the other one is inside of something else. I don't think I like that at the moment, so remove that too. And we have our container with the edge inset only, which can be also removed at the moment. So we have the container inside, and inside of that container we could have an icon. Wrap widget. This one, I think it's a quick way to wrap it, like we have in Android Studio, where we can say something like wrap with a center widget or something like that. So if I add that, you can see inside of our widget tree, we wrapped that selected widget. Maybe this was not the best position for something like that. Can I delete it? Okay, so once it is around a scaffold, it can't be deleted anymore. And if we add now here a center, you can see we can click the wrap current widget, and as soon as I click it, it automatically gets added to that here. Move up, move down. Okay. On the bottom right part is a wrap widget. Is it not this one that you mentioned? What do I... Ah, this one? This is a text widget. That is pretty cool. The wrap widget is just a text, but it has a specification that it has automatically break the line down as soon as it hits the border of its text possibilities. So if you are working with a wrap and have a text inside of it, no, I don't know. Was it this one? Nope. So you see, I'm absolutely expert with that tool. Yeah, and what I would also like to see is something like the following. If we have an app that is running, that Flutter inspector with that blue areas to see where we are exactly. But somehow, because this is not running right. Let's open up a real editor in that case. And if we go somewhere, check. Where are we? Easy counter, let's go. And inside here we have our main function, run on the... Oh, look at that, we have more possibilities. So make it on MacOs, it's even faster. And we can close the editor down, simulator down. Is it? I don't know the theme. I think, no, it's Kimby Dar, no, Monokai. I don't know if Monokai is part of the Sublime team, don't know. Okay, but yeah, the wrap widget is pretty cool because it can wrap multiple lines into ones. So if we can take them, let's do it here in a real editor, I think. Then I can show it easily. So we have that, and we can make that a bit smaller. Here we go. Oh wait, we are on a Mac, so I can do something like this, and then put that on the left side, this on the right side. Maybe we get some space here. So, can you still see everything? Yeah, looks good. Okay, so what can the wrap widget do for us? If we are in our main and we have now the map, we delete everything that we don't need, as always. I think we don't need the whole thing here because it is anyway a different app. And inside of here we would use the wrap widget. Get rid of all of that stuff. Center, child. So, and now let's go into the documentation. And let's have a look. So we have a wrap widget that takes its space and then it automatically starts to wrap everything that is inside into the space that is allowed. That's pretty cool. So it lays out each child, attempts to place the child adjacent to the previous child, and so on and so forth. Given by direction, leaving space between. If there is not enough space to fit the child, wrap creates a run adjacent. So let's see how we can use that. So we would have some children inside of here. And you can see on the left side, it's getting already pretty empty. We have still the app bar. And what would happen if we have that wrap? So we want to have some texts. So for example, hello YouTube, text, hello world. And another one, great to see you, right? So now it creates like a list of them, one after another. What we can do is having a sized box with a width, 100 pixels, And that is probably too large, but let's keep it for now. And it automatically creates now a wrap. So if we make that smaller, you see? With that, you can create also responsive designs. So you can keep it very, very shallow with that work here. And it wraps automatically and keeps the space as good as possible. So, and that, yeah, because now the 100 high width gets pushed down behind, and now it looks like this. Cool. So what can we do else? I think we had a second winner, right, today. So what was the second part that was winning? Maybe we can use that. Ooh. Velocity X is also interesting for you guys. Should we maybe switch the context from the Widget Studio to the Velocity X package? Yep, exactly. Maybe we can take a look there, because that would be also interesting for the text widgets and everything. So we can go to pub.dev. The screen util, no, screen util, what is that? A Flutter plugin for adapting screen and font sizes. Let your UI display a reasonable layout on different screen sizes. Okay, so it is more set width, set height, okay. It's more like a wrapper around the screen sizes. That's pretty cool. Hamish is ready as always. Velocity X. Okay, let's try that. So it is the first time that I use Velocity X. Well, actually, as myself. So you can see we can, instead of writing everything into a widget and surrounding it with widgets and then another widget, we have more that builder pattern. So where we can have like a string, for example, then we say it is a text widget, which has the styling white, X14, I don't know yet. We have it bold, centered, and so on and so forth. So we don't have to wrap everything around 100 widgets. We would more create like a builder pattern and creating the widgets with these dot annotations. So it is inspired by Tailwind and Swift UI. And how we can use that? Well, easy enough. As always, we use that inside of our pubspec.yaml. Oh, we go over here. In the pubspec.yaml, yes, I use Grammarly like a lot, like for everything. It's like I hated to write in German because I don't have Grammarly anymore. So here we go, and we add that down here. And with that, we run pubspec pubget, of course, as always. And now we have the possibility to work here inside. So, and you can see here now, for example, we have that text here, right? And what I could do now with Velocity X is just saying something like this. Do I have to execute it? No, no execution. It is just a variable. And it's still red. Did I make something wrong? I need to import most likely something, right? Dot make. Yeah, that was important because it is an override. So this text is an override to the parent. Yeah, I have to import it exactly. Here we are. So what happens with that Velocity X? Velocity X is a very nice extension method, and an extension method on the string. And with that, we can execute something on this string, which is in that case text. So if we take a look here, we find this VX text builder, get text. And if we jump here inside, we find that it's extending the widget builder and the color mixin and so on. Then it creates us that text widget. And as you can see, nothing has changed. So we still see the text, even though that we don't wrap it in a text widget, because that happens everything behind the scenes. And I think we can also do that even further. We can just say, for example, instead of make immediately, we could also add here more informations. Like for example, make it bold, and then we say make. And you see it's getting immediately bold. So it's a pretty cool idea to create different things. Let's see, what could we else do instead? We could make that whole thing a bit more pretty, I think. So is there something to create an app bar? He should be somewhere in API, right? So have a look. No, that's YouTube channel, Velocity X tutorial getting started. Let's have a look. So, a minimalistic Flutter framework for rapidly building custom designs. Use methods for widgets and setting a value. Getters, properties, getting values. Okay. Pubget, Flutter Pubget. It would be great to get more information what we can everything. Ah, all right. So we have the box, card, size, flex. Wow, so there is also a lot of classes and widgets that surrounds everything to create responsive designs, right? So for example, here we have a flex box more or less that creates that stuff. VX inline block, VX block. So the VX block is for the 100% things. VX inline box block is for separating them. First, second, and second. I think there is a mistake because it should be the third, right? The stack is on front. Horizontal stack is a widget that displays children in a horizontal area. Okay. Oh, that is pretty neat. The set stack. I like that. Let's make that a bit bigger, I think. So, what could we do here? So we could remove the app bar for now to make it a bit better. So, and what I want to have is a bit more size and remove this part, get rid of the center and have a clean widget yet. So, creating a container maybe, and now let's think about it. I want to use that stack at the moment just to get this set stack running. I would like to try what I can do with that. And debug button. It's so nice on that white screen, or not? It looks pretty awesome. So we can remove that, of course. The debug show is false. Debug show checked. Did I add something wrong? No. Ah, here is a mistake still. I think we can also remove this part. And here we need a no. Here and voila. Okay, so now we are completely empty, and I would like to try this set stack. So there is set stack. And what do we can do here inside seems to be a children, right? Inside of a set stack, it just takes an array of objects. That is very interesting. Okay, the array of objects can be everything, right? So we can use, for example, free containers. So you see, the wrapper of Velocity X doesn't take a children, right? What we would have too. And this is actually, yeah, children is like a verbose thing that we don't like to have. My current job, well, depends. I'm working mostly on our YouTube channel at the end only. It's the only thing that we are doing currently. And whenever we have time, I'm still working on a project for a customer where I currently make more HTML web specific things like where I do working on Angular, for example, or Widget, making tutorials and trainings about these topics and bringing them together more. But mainly YouTube. So we give our best here. But I learned yesterday that even the bigger YouTubers have some problems with live streaming, so it is not only me. Okay, but as we can see inside of a set stack, he is using a VX box. Yeah, I love working with Flutter, and I would the biggest problem that I have with web technologies is actually not that it is JavaScript or anything, but that it doesn't have a very good foundation. For me, JavaScript is not a good language, because if something is typed, and like for example Flutter and Dart is strongly typed, so you can read everything, you can work easier with the language and so on. So much more fun. If I see in JavaScript things where I don't know, I get crazy about it, it's like crazy, and so I don't do that anymore. But yeah, I work with everything and I'm open to everything, but Flutter hooked me years ago, and it's like my dream of full stack development that I would like to see everywhere. So that's why I'm working with Aqueduct, for example, as a background technology if I can. And Flutter is like 18 months or something out on the wild now, and it made so many impressive steps towards a great technology. You can also use set stack extension on Lizzie. What are you talking about? What is Lizzie? Lizzie? Is it something? No. So we want to have a VBox for now, just to recreate the example. And what can we have here? VBox. You started since 1. Wow. I can't even recall the version number, to be honest. On list. Okay. How would that look like? So I have a list and then I just say .c stack. Make? No. All right. Anyway, so exactly Xbox, that is correct. And then we have to import the stuff, or is it? I know it most likely wants something. To the list type. Okay. How does it work here? We have a child inside and a padding, and then it's getting closed again. So we have a child here, most likely here too, which could be a text. Whoop, we have velocity x, so we can use it with that. So hello world dot make for now. Keep it simple. Make. And why is it complaining so much? I'm confused. Did I forgot to import it? No, it's there. Ah, text. Okay, cool. So we want to have that as a text and then we make it. Thank you, Amish. And we have the VBox here. But still we get errors here. Do I really? VXbox? Did I forgot something? Do I have to make that? Ah, I have to also make the VX boxes. Okay, cool. Here we go. And maybe the last one gets also a child. How can I limit retrieving quantity query snapshots from Firestore for each user? Could you please share a sample code? That is very specific. Quantitative query snapshot from Firestore for each user. To be frank, I don't know where to start. I think I would just read the documentation of Firestore and take a look how you can make these snapshots happening, right? Because yeah, that could be a lot of problems that you have to do, but I'm pretty sure the documentation will help you there a lot. Okay, so now we have everything stacked as a C stack that we can see here. I hope, to be honest, to have it more like this in different colors and everything. But I think I have to do more like text make p20 red 30 make. So p20 is actually for the text, and then after that we have red 30 300 make. So it is the box that is red 300. Up, yeah, here we go. And this would be, for example, blue 300, and last but not least, green 300. So as you can see, we get these nice little stacks here. That would be an option, but I'm not sure how this works with the real-time snapshot query, because the real-time is everything inside, so you have to limit it there, I think, like with a filter or something like that. I think that could work. And a padding he create. Is it padding surrounding the whole thing? Oh, interesting. Okay, so the second, both seconds are in a padding. So let's surround the second one with a padding. It's a padding all 20, or if I saw that correctly, yeah. And also this one gets a padding of 20. And inside of here we have that text.make p20. Ah, okay, it's getting big. Ah, yeah, okay, cool. True that. Yeah, of course, the charges of Firebase are tremendous if you don't take a look. I thought there are a lot of good Medium articles that I can recommend you, where the people are talking about their experience with making them future-proof for Firestore, because it's getting very expensive if you don't take care of that. It's a really crazy opportunity there. Okay, but at the moment I'm just developing for myself. Nothing works. How does it look? Why does it not stack like we see it here? What did I miss? So we have the VBox, we have the P20 here of the text. We added no padding for the first thing. Okay, so we have the P20, we have no padding surrounding it. The first padding has an edge inset of all by 20, and the second one too. No good. That will not help us. P20 is padding for 20. Yes, I thought exactly this. So the text's getting all padding of 20, and the VBoxes itself getting these surroundings by padding, according to the example. I can't copy that thing. That's a bit a nightmare. Child VBox. So I have the padding or surrounding the text, and we make the whole thing. Green, green, red. Okay. You think I can restart everything because you mean I refresh this browser here? Nope. Maybe I take a different browser. Let's try me in the Chrome. Let's have a look. No, not copyable. This documentation is just for him. No, but I think I can just reduce this by 10 and then it's getting like stacked like this. And the cool thing would be if I can set a fixed width on these VBoxes. Is that possible? Like width of 100. Let's increase it to 300. Yeah, so that looks much better. And that's the cool thing about this method of the VelocityX, right? So we have the possibility to not surround everything with more widgets at the end and getting our result easier. Can I center that C stack? Maybe by doing something like that. Here we go. All right, Amish, let's see. See you later. But that's pretty cool. So you have the benefit with this VelocityX to create these builder functions, right? So it always returns itself. And with that, you have the possibility to take another step on that. And with that, you create your UI in a different way. And this is the cool thing about VelocityX, that you create your UI in a more expressive way and you don't surround everything so much. A free alternative of Firebase. Well, Firebase is a beast. I don't know if you have ever looked into all the different things that you can create there, but Firebase is like a tremendous workplace. So if you take, for example, any new project, and as you can see already, the first page talks about A/B testing, user segmentation, prediction, crash-free courses, and so on. So it highly depends what you mean with, is there any free option? Well, of course there are free options, but they are coming mostly with a lot of more effort. So if you think about, I'm working at the moment with Aqueduct, which is a Dart framework where you can create a server-side framework. So you can create your own server with HTTP and everything with Dart, and I highly recommend it because I really love it. The only thing that it doesn't have is hot reload yet, but it will maybe come in the future. So you have fluid routing, you have a lot of OAuth and so on and so forth. You can test everything well, which is amazing, but it is still far away from Firebase, right? Because Firebase is not only a backend system, it is a storage system, an authentication system with OAuth 2.0 that can also have sign-up methods from all the different parts like Twitter, Facebook, GitHub. You have templates where you can send to email verification and so on and so forth. You see your usage, where it comes from, which countries. You have real-time database. You have synchronization between local device and server-side things. You can host your websites there. I don't know where to start and where to end, but if you want to have a free option and a free alternative, usually it comes with the downside that you have to write a lot of the code yourself. So it highly depends on what you want to achieve. For apps that are pretty small, I think Firebase is totally fine, because I think the Spark upgrade is very late, right, to Blaze. And if you take a look into the full plans, yeah, you have to reach a certain limit that you can achieve, and it's very hard. The only downside on Firebase that I found so far is if you are starting with working in the databases, if you have to write the security roles, because you have to be very concise, very, very strict with yourself to write them all. And they are not so easy to write. You start usually with this allow read and write with just starting in test mode with a timestamp. You are always allowed to read and write on it. But after a while, this is not like you should do it, right? So you can make a small app with that, but it will not work on long run. Yeah, but of course, for all these different parts, you will find something. So for example, if you want only authentication, Aqueduct, for example, is fine. Yeah, so you can just register yourself with it. If you want to have a database, for example, yep, Aqueduct as a backend server would work, and then Postgres at the end or something like that. But still, you are far away. And if you search for mobile backend as a service, I think you will find also a lot of possibilities there. Castle, Cumulus, and what the name are all, right? And also they provide more or less a backend database that is synchronizable, that you don't have to do too much with it. The question is just if they are for free. That is a good question. Let's see. Yeah, if you download it yourself, then it works, but Managed Cloud Edition is very expensive usually. So yeah, there is everything for every problem, right? What I like the most about Firebase actually is really the analytics. You get so many stuff from your apps later. It's crazy. Okay. No worries, that's all right. That's what I'm here for. Okay, but now let's create something. I like to have at least some feature today. So it's 1 hour still left, so let's do something cool. We have already a material app here and we want to create a cool application. So to that we go to Dribble, find something that I like that we recreate, for example. Something easy that I would love to see completed today. What can we do? An onboarding screen would maybe be nice, or financial tasks. Maybe this one. Something like that. That we create the card down here. Wow. With a scanner, okay. Not too bad. But let's see, we would just take that part for now. Oops. Just give it a second till it's reloaded. Yep. So it's not about to copy one on one, so not to get the colors, the pictures and everything like he has. It is just to get like the shapes and everything. So for example, that modal that shows down here, I like really much that it's like on top as a second card of this upper part. And as you can see, we don't use the basic app bar. But actually we could use the basic app bar and just increase it. And there is also that drop down button here inside of the title. So maybe we can recreate that. And because we are using today Velocity X, we will have a look there if we can do that. So we call that here dashboard screen and let's get into it. Is this okay for you? I don't know, maybe you have a better idea what we can do, but just want to finish something off, or else I feel like we didn't achieve something today. Oops. So in our app scaffold, we create an app bar. And this app bar will be a bit special because we don't want to have a background color. So it needs to be transparent. How can we actually do that? We just give it const color 0x00, and with that it is anyway transparent no matter which color code we give. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. I do as always and create a constant file inside here. So constant.dart, just to select or have all the constants here for us. So chi transparent. Yep. So we import the, I will take the painting and semicolon. Now we can use that in the dashboard screen and import that here too. All right, so we have a dark area here. That's interesting. Seems not to be so transparent. So maybe we have to use, instead of black, we should use white as the background. Maybe just use better. No, it's still visible. Huh. Can we do something like with opacities? No. Now the question is if this is something coming from the macOS working on, because we are working currently on macOS with the macOS application and not with an emulator or simulator. So maybe this happens from there. Huh, really interesting. Ah, maybe it has a shadow. That could be. Okay, but rather to try here around, I would take in a look into the app bar, and I think it is the preferred sized widget, which is just a widget at the end. So what we could do is we could create our own app bar for that, or what I would do is a bit easier approach. I would just add that to the body of the scaffold. So I would remove that set stack for now, because it was just a try, and we create a column here inside. And the column will have some children. Now it's getting a bit empty, but that's all right. And inside of here, we want to have an, can we add the app bar here and make it transparent? Let's see. Interesting. I'm not quite sure. Is there app bar, Flutter API shadow? It has an elevation property. Okay, so maybe the elevation property keeps me away from doing it. Aha, here we go. Yes, for Windows there is a very good Flutter emulator alternative. So if you don't want to have the Android emulator, I would highly recommend you install the master channel of Flutter and try to run Windows, the Windows application with UWP. You have to install for that Visual Studio, so the whole suite with some parameters. I will make there a video next week, hopefully. And that works pretty fast, really. I was pretty surprised how good it is, depending on your machine, of course. I don't know how good the performance is in overall. I didn't check that so much, but on my machine it worked very well. And I like it just to have everything running on the plate. So that's also the reason why I'm using here the Mac emulator. So the real Mac desktop, less and not the no, not the simulator. And that's because I found now the elevation 0, we can use the app bar also as an app bar in the scaffold. So here we have some actions. This is the parts that happens that comes behind. So if we add here an icon button, for example, and give that an icon dot no icon dot icons dot add, for example, and an onPress method, we should see that at the end. Oh, no worries. And we can change here the color of that icon. Can I do that with this? Like, is there something like green 300? No. Is there something on that velocity X that can take the color of my objects? Colors, what can we do here? Oh, wow. The problem that I see at the moment is that I'm working a lot around the velocity X, but with the default values, that is a bit sad. So I have to change the color here to const color 0xff, and let's take it, make it green maybe. Something like that, just to see where it is, up there. Or we make it just black to just see it for now. Yep. Yeah, so now we have that plus icon up here. And if we open up the preview again with the image, what is an ASO? App optimization. So because I already asked, no, not really. App Store optimization, okay. Well, that is one of the difficult parts of the app development. I started an app years ago and that is still no success. So I think what you want to do with the app optimization is like taking a look how it works, or what you can also do is finding partners for your app. So there are like big publishers who have a lot of ideas and knowledge about that system. And if you ask them, they will also share their knowledge and maybe try to push your app to a certain level. So yeah, Yeah. So publishers for app you could search for. The problem is if you are working with a publisher. Hey Amish, welcome back. So that changed a lot. I searched for a topic that we can achieve today, and so I want to have something like this created today. I found that on Dribbble, and now I just want to recreate it kindly. So for example, having this nice little menu bar up top, having these drop down icon in the app bar, and having an action with a bell. And now the Android user asked me for an ASO knowledge, so app store optimization. And no, I'm not really experienced in that area, to be frank. But what I can tell you is searching for partners, if you are not that experienced, is a good option. So searching for app publishers, for example, or if you want to improve your listing in the app market, you really have to bring a very good app and make marketing everywhere. And if you have like Flutter applications, it's all about widgets, right? Because on It's All Widgets is the name, you can submit an app, and if you submit your app, it's getting shared in Twitter, on Reddit, and all the different options, and you get the options here. What I learned is that it is always way harder to be finished with the idea of the Apple Store, because Apple Store is always very restrictive. You have sometimes multiple rounds for your apps. It's getting very hard to solve these issues. I love how Google Play was working with that. It's way easier, and you get also way faster feedback, I think. Yeah, Amish, I saw all of your apps. It was pretty crazy how many different apps there is gonna through when you first heard about It's All Widgets. I think if we search here, It's All Widgets, we find also the Twitter channel from them, and you can see podcasts. You find the new apps, how they're getting resolved, and better presented to you. You can find all the different parts here, and that is pretty cool, to be frank. So that helps a lot to get new publishers, their apps out there, to get some feedback from them, from everyone. And feedback is the most important thing that we can get, right? Because app market is really, really, really competitive. So we are really far away from, everyone wins when he creates an app, right? So at the moment, I'm anyway focused more on customer apps. So if someone asks me to create him an app, then I'm the right man, but I try to do it less. The apps that are on It's All Widgets, I think they are all functional. They are already in the Google Play Store. So what you can do is going inside of here, and you get it, like the information that you can get it on the Play Store, and download this one. So all these apps are absolutely... Hey, Stefan, nice to see you. So all these apps are fully fledged functional. You can download them and use them on your device. So that should be possible. And that is really, so all these apps that you find on It's All Widgets, they are really apps that you can use, right? They are really showcases at the end. That's pretty cool. I had also submitted my profile on Flutter Pro. What is Flutter Pro? Is it something that we should know? Oh, I was there once. Oh, cool. I didn't know that you can add there something. So let's see if we find you, Amish, huh? Oops, Amish. Here we go. Okay, but that's pretty cool. I didn't know that this site exists. Maybe I should also enter myself. Oh, Arvin, we are million miles. Everyone is miles away from everything. It's like I wanted to create a portfolio since I don't know, since I am started with development. I never created an own portfolio in my whole lifetime. I think I created a CV once, like this one that was with, oh, it's even dead. So even that, this is not there anymore. I think if you once start with this rabbit hole that you don't get finished with anything, it's like crazy. You have always something to do in development, and this is the great stuff that we do. Jobs? Well, as I said, at the moment, YouTube is my job, so I'm a bit more self-created, even though we don't earn so much money at the moment. But it's not all about that stuff, right? Like my web development skills are way better than my my consulting and training skills are getting more and more better, right? So even though I'm doing mostly Flutter and I'm going into other situations, I can still transfer that knowledge, right? And in YouTube now, with all that live streaming, creativity, all these different things, all that is also important as a software engineer. And it's also very nice to see if you work with a designer and you can talk with them and you can improve their skill set too. Yeah, I think app design is always very difficult. So if you really concentrate just to create apps, you really have to someone who backs you up. I think what I heard, for example, is that these minute games, I don't know if you have ever heard of them, that is very quick games to develop, mostly in one day, and they are like super cheap somehow. But if you have them developed, they just getting into some agencies with like very easy usage. And yeah. With media query, what do you mean with media query? Okay, but back to our target here. You have a complete different business plan. Tell us, what is your business plan? Would love to hear that. So in the meantime, I can create here like our app bar and going for a leading. How can we run commands in Windows Flutter app? You could do the same like we did the last time with in our Dart Koans thing. You could execute the process manager. That could work maybe, but I'm not absolutely sure with that. So you could try something like process manager Dart, and there it is possible to access the Windows terminal and can execute with that stuff. At least that worked the last time for us, but you have to take a look. I don't know. Yeah, Stefan, that could work. On the other hand, you would be possible is, for example, how we did it. We talked first with someone, so we have some people around in the community, and we talked with them what they could need, and then we created the app out of that. So that helped to understand what they want and what they need, and after that we implemented. But I think that is business plan and everything, so that is like every startup works with that. So we have here a leading icon. Icons.menu is the name, I think. And of course the color is also dark. So color. Yeah, the problem is always to find people, and I think the hardest part is to talk with someone that you don't know and then tell them that, you create Flutter apps and I'm so excited and I just want to help you. It's always very difficult. True. Yeah, Hackerbot. So I think the process manager will help you. There, as I said, there is this command run and starts a process and runs it non-interactively to completion. Another option, I don't know if this will help you, but this is the Dart terminal from Tim Sneef, I think. So if you go GitHub, there's the Dart terminal. I'm pretty sure I created a PR for that somewhere, so give me a second. Okay, somehow it's getting lost, I think. Cannot have any dependency that use Flutter. Anyway, not so important, sorry. K for constant. I think I did that, right? I still added the K in front. I'm nice. Did everything like we should. But I should create for this a constant, I think. So we call that here and having K color black. Give it the const. Here we go. And the same we do for this one. Good. Okay, where is our preview? Did we have that? It is whitish with a blue background. And then we have two container. So it seems in that column here, we want to have that column over the whole screen. And it seems that this app bar can't be a pure app bar down here. So this will sooner or later not work like we expect that, I think. So what we want to have is here inside, we want to have two container. Yeah, I know, cave in front, but some people don't like it and I understand it. 13-inch 2020, well, depends on what you want to do. I recommend all MacBooks to work with because they are pretty good, but be mindful, they are very expensive and a Windows computer can do nearly the same thing. Highly depends on what you want to achieve. For me, 13 how inches, zoll? I don't know. The smaller one of the MacBooks, I don't like them too much because I always want to see more. And as you can see, even on a big screen, you still have less space. It's still not enough if you really want to work proactive. The app UI I found on Dribble, so you find it here. I can add the link in the chat. Yeah. So, and now these two containers. What I want to do is adding an asset. I think we have never done that so far. So I create an asset folder, create an images so that we have something where we can put our images in. And now we just go to Unsplash and find a nice little image that we want to have on the background. And I want to have, do you have an idea what we search for the topic, or should we stick with the dribble one? Because it is a virus, I don't want to spread more of that. I think it's already sad enough. So find something like flowers. I think that's very beautiful. And also here you can find that image here. And we bring that image now into our application. Are there? Ah, you mean for the... Ah, this one's. Yeah, true. Oops. Download this color package. So we could create them as colors, as constants already. Then we can use them easier. Okay, that doesn't work like I expected. How can we blur a text in Flutter with timer? I have no idea. Can you blur text that easily? How make a blurry text? So let's go. Filter, image filter, and then blur, backdrop filter. Okay, they create a stack and then they put the text underneath a different widget. So I think you have to create your own widget for that, probably, or you create a stack and then they put the backdrop filter. We can try that here maybe very easily if I just copy that part. And image filter is most likely Dart UI library. Yep. And we remove that. Somewhere is a mistake. This is the column, this is the container, this is the stack. And here's a color. So just for now that we can get that all green here. And there's a missing. So finally. Okay, color black, getter. I think I can also remove this part. To add a timer to your ad, that should be pretty easy, or not? Also, well, before I talk too much, let's first go one step after another. So we get some errors, so I want to fix that first. And I lib dashboard 3022. So he complains about this, but it works. I think here's something broken. Ah, no, I didn't save the file. That was the mistake. Okay, but now restart the application and let's have a look. But I think a timer should be just a date time, and I think you can even make a datetime.timer or something. So datetime.timer? No? Have we Google for that? So timer Dart? There's even timer class. A countdown timer that can be configured to fire once or rapidly. Okay, so let's have a look. Have to first make that small, and then the other one also small. Yep, and to the left and to the right. So now where was the timer class? Here we go. So we can set a timeout, start timeout, duration, new timer, duration, handle timeout. Stopwatch is also possible. So it is living inside of the Dart async. Huh? So let's see how we can create a timer. So do we have anything here inside? Oh, geez, that was stupid. Sorry guys. I somehow managed it to close everything down. I'm still not... Yeah, I worked with Windows before, seconds ago or minutes ago. And then when I did that, I hit always Control Q to see the documentation. And what happened now, if I press Command Q, is like shut down everything. And yeah. We have an error somewhere in the code. Not good. Yeah, Command Q is like the hell. So timer is easy, duration. So what do you mean with duration? Duration, of course I need. So this is the time elapsed. And there we can have like something like minutes, one. Yeah, exactly. So, and now we have a timer, and this timer most likely has some properties inside. Yep. So what can we do? The timer. Can someone help me on a Mac? How can I open up the documentation about something instead of just jumping inside? We have the timer. The timer needs a duration and it is not named. So it is just a duration. So we give that time elapsed inside. And then after that we have a void callback. And here we can do everything. Print. So the question is now if we want to show that timer, because I think that is not executed for every second, or? Okay, we have that, and what we get the callback. Can we say that callback that we wanted every second, for example? That would be fantastic. Periodic. With duration intervals until cancelled with cancel function. And this callback is, let's see when it's getting called. We get something back here in that callback. That callback is just a function, an empty one. So this callback is most likely if the timer is finished. So if we print here something, for example, timer is finished, I think then it's over. Yeah, I think timer periodic is the one that we need. Milliseconds, let's make that 300 just to see how long. Yeah, but this is once and it just shows you when it's finished. So with that, it is very easy to create a timer like that. But if we want to have like the timer that is calling you all over again, all the time, we need most likely periodic here. And this gives us the timer itself. And then we have something like here, print timer dot to string, don't know. Exactly, the blur issue. I think that is the second part that I want to do. But I think the timer is clear with that. And I think the periodic will now call every now and then, right? So what is, or not? Wait, this is wrong. So print timer dot just print the timer, but we don't get just the instance of a timer, right? I would like to get something like the time that is actually run already, so that is already elapsed, but I don't know how this is working. Tick. Save. Okay, sometimes I get the instance and sometimes I get the number. Because I don't cancel anymore. But anyway, if we have the duration and everything, let's go back to the hot reload. Do we still have the timer? No, cool. But let's go to the blur issue. So for example, we have a text like hello Flutter, easy enough. We have a backdrop filter and we put now one element on the other and say we want to blur that one. The top one we blur. And so with that, the bottom one is getting blurrish. So if we see that on our emulator, how does that work? Why does it not work is the bigger question. So backdrop filter sounds correct to me. So this could work. Colors, black with opacity 0.5. Is it maybe something because it is again the other emulator? So let's take the, oops. I want to run that in an iOS simulator just to see if I can explain animations. Well, animations is multiple pictures after another, and then they are running in a certain amount of time. Okay, here. So let's go step by step. I'm a bit furious right now. So let's go Flutter devices. Flutter D. What was the command? Jeez. Flutter emulators. Emulators. Flutter emulators. Apple. iOS. Simulator. The song that is currently playing or that played is just banished. What's the name? Devices. Yeah. Why can't I not start the emulator? Was it something like this? Okay, anyway, I don't want to use the console right now. I would like to see that here running. I don't know why this is not the case. How was it a Visual Studio code that I can run a certain configuration. Then we have this. But how can I start the emulator at the moment? Do I have to make it like this? Ah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Hackerbot. That was somehow weird for me. Okay, and now let's run. Or is it now still running the F5? What is F5 doing? The problem is right now it's always running into the yeah, exactly, it will run the macOS. I would like to see that in the simulator, because I think it could be a problem that the blurry thing, like the backdrop filter, is not working on the macOS yet. And there is it. Yeah, that's true. Ah, nice. Thank you, Alvin. That helps. There you can see that I'm not working so much with Visual Studio Code than with Android Studio. Whoop, there pops some more. Yep. No, but still, the backdrop filter is not working yet. Not like we expected. So that's maybe the reason why it was downvoted. This link will help you. So backdrop image filter. Okay, this is what we did, and it has a child. Constraint box. A height and a width to the container. I have a community actually in Discord, and this is pretty funny because I'm working on I'm working with a group together that has that DevTown here. I think there is a channel where we are trying to work together here. So if you are here, I am sometimes, but most of the time I am actually in Twitter. So if you search something, then I'm there. Inside of the container. So which container do you mean? This one? So like here, 100 and width 100. Where? Ah, yeah. All right. So blurry it is. But this here looks weird. Is it dead? Ah, yeah. But we need that to make it opaque. So this would be white, I assume. Okay, transparent. Here we go. So what we could do is we could make that by timing. So you would have an animation for that most likely. Maybe you can do that with an animation because I think that is just a number, right? So if I make that, yeah, cool. So we can do this, then it's not blurred, and then cool. So the idea would be that we can say, first we have to identify what we want to do here. You missed everything, Casey. Everything, like the stream is like 1 hour. We did Widget Studio. We did now working on that. We blur stuff. We make now animation. And we have a new subscriber. So we have everything. Yeah, animations. There are 2 points that I would like to point out. One is we have the possibility of creating an animation builder. So whenever we start up our widget or our screen, we build immediately with the animation. And I would start with that. So for example, here with the backdrop, we want whenever it's getting started, we wrap that in an animation builder. Sorry, in a tween animation builder. And the tween animation builder is pretty amazing because it has 3 parameters like builder, duration, and tween. And we love tweens because tweens are making everything in between. Like for example, an integer tween between 0 and 5, a color between green and red. And this is everything that you can do with a tween animation. And that's why we love tween animation all over. They can do a lot for us. And the tween animation builder is now even more fantastic because when the app is loading, it will immediately start its tween animation. So exactly, very good. So for example, I take now the whole backdrop filter here and bring that in our builder, and I return that background filter here. Yep. So that means we create this, right? And now you can see here is a value somewhere. And because this tween animation builder has a tween of integer. This is an int. And now I say this value should be used as a sigma x and sigma y. And now it's getting red because it is a double. Okay, so we be more nice and say this is a double. Okay, so you see it's getting white and green again. What do we need else is the duration. And we created already a duration. I will take now something that is a bit slower, so seconds, maybe 3. And even more accuracy, exactly. Hey, thank you everyone. I want to point that out that you work with me so well together today. It's very nice to work with you. That is so good. Even though that I was a bit nervous in the midterm. So we have a tween here, and a tween is an in-between, as we already heard today. And we can have a tween double. And a tween wants always 2 parameters, a beginning and an ending. The beginning could be 0, or is in our case a 0, and the ending a 5. And this will now trigger a creation. It has now bundled in itself an animation controller. That animation controller gets the duration for 3 seconds. It has the animation. We can even have the curved animation is gone. And all that stuff is triggered inside of the tween animation builder, so that we just run our app and you will see that animation happen. So what we will do is I make a hot reload because the state has changed. And what you can see is the text is getting slowly blurry. All right. And that is pretty cool. So whenever we come to a page, that animation builder is triggered and we create more or less this blurry effect after a while. The problem with that is we can't wait for it. We can't say something like, hey, wait 5 seconds and then start the animation, or wait for a certain event and start this animation. Because it is a builder, it will always trigger this animation immediately. So that is very important to know. But in that case, we want to have a timer, and after that timer is set to 0, we want to handle that. If you want to run one animation after another, you will need something that is called a stacked animation. Sorry. So a stacked animation, should add Flutter for that. Stacked animation positioned. What's the right name? Now I'm not sure anymore. I thought it was stacked animation. I have to prepare for that a bit better, but there is an animation where you can trigger them one by another. Or what you also can do is if you create multiple animations, like for example, I'm going into my dashboard screen and I would create for that, let's say we create our own method, staggered animations. Thank you. Stateful widget. What I'm doing here, jeez. So we convert to a stateful widget. And now we have to yeah, I think it is staggered animation. I think that is correct. So this is one option to have a staggered animation. And I think there is also inside of Flutter a very good documentation for that, where you can create, like, I think here that is a cool demo. So you can see we can have first that it's appearing from the bottom, going back to the bottom. So there are multiple that are working after another. The smoothest. Yeah, you just go to that stateful widget and then you can convert it up here, and that's the easiest way to do it. And what I want to do is now, instead of having this tween animation builder, because as I said, it will run automatically and we have not that callback from our timer that we will create. So we start with our timer that has a duration of, let's say, again, seconds, maybe 3. And what I want to do in the callback is I just want to trigger the animation. And I did everything wrong, it seems. What is... here we go. Okay. So we have a timer, but actually, let's put that in the build function. Thank you. I'm sorry if I'm today a bit fast. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm a bit nervous. So many people that are watching. It's like okay, but we have now a timer. And what we also want to do is, if we want to create our own animations, then we have to get a mixin for that. So we say with, and then it is single. What is the nice name? Ticker provider state mixin. So it is a crazy word, but what it says, it creates a ticker for each frame that could happen in Flutter. And with that, we can create animations. The problem is we lose a bit that beautifulness of having just a tween and run that stuff. Now we have to do everything ourselves. So the first thing is we create an animation controller. And I'm pretty sure Matab created a lot of great videos where she explained exactly how these things work. And now you can see it requires the vsync. And that is the problem. We can't do that here. Now we need an init state. And in init state, we say now animation controller equals to this animation controller and give the vsync of this. And this refers in this case to our screen state, which is nothing else than a single ticker provider. And that's why this animation controller can now work correctly. Another thing is, especially if we want to have multiple animations, we can now create, let's say we call that first animation, and we can create a second animation. And if you have something like this animation controller, we are not allowed to forget one thing. We have to dispose it. Because else we would create multiple animation controller whenever we come back and forth to that screen, and we would get like memory leaks that we want to avoid. So animation controller dot dispose. Was it not the animation control? Animation controller. Yeah, animation controller dot dispose, and with that the animation gets killed and deleted out of the from the garbage collector, which is very important. And do not miss that out, because I made that mistake multiple times. Memory leak. Well, your application can run into memory leaks when it tries to create, for example, an easy example is that animation, right? We would have an animation that always pops something up and closes something down, pops it up, closes it down, and so on and so forth. Now your widget gets destroyed, for example. Now you would have in memory still that animation. So it would still do this transformation even though that you can't see it. Maybe even the widgets don't exist anymore, but still the calculation happens in the background. And now you would create the same animation once more. So you would have twice this animation in the background, the calculation would be there. Now you would create it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 100 times. So your memory on your device would be getting ripped because you can't calculate so much stuff, right? You would calculate easy stuff, but a lot of easy stuff is still very complicated. And with that, you create these words memory leak. So you don't have enough memory to work, and that will kill your the application in the worst case. And in the best case, it would just slow down your performance. But you will not have, or you don't want to have both of them. It's really not nice. So keep this dispose in your mind. Exactly, it's an infinity loop, because an animation is nothing else than an infinity loop in the worst case, right? It will always calculate, because that animation controller has one job. It wants to calculate a number between 0 and 1 in a specific duration. So if we take a look into it, here is the duration, and this duration, which is for us seconds 5. And this animation controller knows now something like, okay, this animation controller contains a value. And this value is always between 0 and 1. And everything that we do now as an animation is just a multiplication of that 0 to 1 that happens in the duration. So what we can do, whenever this animation controller changes, wait, I have to give that animation controller the right value, or else it's getting too difficult for me. So animation controller dot, and now you see a lot of different parts here. And one possibility is forward, for example. And forward tells your animation now to go forward. So between 0 and 1, and then it will stop. And what we can do in the animation controller, we can also have a listener and a listener to it. And this listener will now execute all the time when something changes on this animation controller. So what we can do is animation controller again, and we get the value from it. And if we now take a look into our console, where I don't know where it is right now, so console. Here we go. So we take a look into our console and we rerun it with hot reload because the state has changed, right? We have now an animation. We get an error. Isn't it great? Down here, I forgot something. Dispose, build, trigger, timer. Maybe the timer is still broken somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So hot reload. And now you can see in the duration of 5 seconds, we have now all these different values. And this is always a recalculation between 0 and 1 in 5 seconds for each frame that Flutter has. So it took for one frame to another for Flutter between 0 to 9 and 0 to 9,333 something, 1 frame. So 3,000 still, I think. So it is very quick. So what is Flutter Hackathon 2020? I mean, what we need to do? Like they gonna ask you something? No, the hackathon is something great. And for people who are learning development or also want to challenge themselves, it's something where you create cool stuff. I think a hackathon itself is more like a group of people coming together and creating and working together on a specific program. So you register for that, you will get matched with a team where you can work with them together, and you will create something fantastic for the Flutter community. I think the Hackathon 2020 or Hack 20, I think is the name, Hack 20. On this time, we have already the first theme, and I see right now that I didn't vote for the second one. I think we can do that together. So what should we wait for? Ooh, Cyberpunk. Ooh. Yeah, so the first theme that we're choosing is, for example, COVID-19. So we everyone on the Hack 20 will think about this possibility and what we can do to improve something with software development and bring it to open source most of the time. And this is the great thing, because in a hackathon, we really try to work as a team with Flutter developers and create an app or an application to help someone. And this is what I really like about it. And you challenge yourself, you learn something, you will work with the greatest community that I know so far. And everyone tries to help everyone, and you learn the most out of it if you try to participate. So if you are new and you think, I'm not good enough, still register for it, because it is really a very good option to learn something. And I think nobody will be angry if you are not that fast or productive. Okay, back to our animation controller. So we get a number between 0 and 1 that gets updated every frame of Flutter. As certificates? I don't know. I don't think so. I never heard about that. But to be honest, that is not the reason why I participate. That's a good question. I don't know. The problem is I'm not a part of the organizers, because the Hack 20 is from the Flutter community. And you most likely know the Flutter community already. No, not this one. This one. Where Nash, Simon Lightfoot, I don't know, even Rody Davis is part of it, I think. All of these, here we go. Nash, Scott Stoll, people from Google and so on, from GDGs, and all these parts are members of the Flutter community. I don't know if all of them are members. No, they are writers, okay. So most of them, or the people that I know, is Simon Lightfoot, Nash, Rody Davis, and so on and so forth. And they make all sometimes live streams and support the different meetup groups. So it is very great community. And I wrote for them also, so you should find my name somewhere there. Yeah, but if I hear something about certificates, you will be the first one who knows about it. Okay. So back to our animation controller. We have now a value between 0 and 1. And what can we do with that? Well, the easiest way to use that would be that we say, okay, we have a value between 0 and 1. Then we can do something like, okay, we take the animation value here, and instead of the tween animation builder that we can remove now with the tween, what do we have to remove? Everything, like getting just the backdrop filter again, and removing everything that is surrounding here by this. Hope that was right. And now we can use the animation controller dot value and then multiply it by 5. So, and this would create us also a value between 0 and 5, right? Because we have here the value that could be between 0 and 1. And if we multiply it by 5, we get, yeah, something in between. So, and if we take a look now into our simulator and I restart with hot reload that app, you will see we get the different values down here. And I hope that I was not mistaken, but something was not right. Did I make a mistake? Ah, yeah, sure, obvious, guys. We have to do something. If we do that and we have a stateful widget and we change the state of the widget, what do we have to do? We all hear and love it. Set state. Yeah, in set state, now it should work fine. So we restart that, and whenever we change the value down here, we change the state, and now we update also this part here. So that works already well, but now we comes to the problem that we have to create all that stuff around ourselves. So the idea is to create this first animation and second animation. And what I would highly recommend is to make here a tween animation. I think you can also just make a tween where we have the beginning, that would be 0, and the end with the 5. And let's make 2.5 in that case, because we want to have two animations. In the first 0 to till 2.5, we want to do something, and then we'd want to do something else. Performance-wise, I think no. Actually, all this, as soon as you start to give this with single ticker provider, you will have not, well, the performance will still be good, but it will not be the performantest way that you can do. A tween mixin and this tween animation builder will also call set state in the background. So there is no difference, because this is how you create your UI at the end. It triggers the UI method. But it works very well, and performance-wise, I think you will not feel the difference, right? To be honest, but the tween animation builder is a bit more performant because it knows exactly when the frame needs to rebuild and everything. So it's pretty good. I hope there's answers. The windows. Which windows? All of them? Or do you want to see this one? What I can do is I can switch now again back to the macOS and take a look if we have here a bit, or if this is also working. You want to see the Windows PC? Well, I make a picture and send it on Twitter, if this is okay, because my computer is a bit too large to take it around, and now the laptop is already very tangled up, so give me a second. So this is a live picture now, and let's see if you can see it here, maybe. Where is it? Streamlabs here. So can you see it? It's a very big box at the end in the large background. I think the name was Predator or something. I will post it on Twitter and send it afterwards if this is okay for you. Yeah, but back to the easy counter. We have that running, that is this, but you can see it's also working on macOS with that. And now we want to create a timer for it, right? So like we have a timer that works 5 seconds, and after the 5 seconds, then we want to start to make it blurry. And that's why we created all these different things here. And that's not actually completely true, I think. We wanted to make these 2 animations. So what do we want to solve first? Do we want to solve first 2 animations? Or do we want to first solve the problem with that timer? What do you think? And you know what? I will create a poll for that. Then I can also play a bit around because we didn't have a poll today and I don't know how that should work. So give it an open poll, close poll. What is that? So we add a new one. No. So, and the option 2 is, damn it. The 2 animations, and the other thing would be the timer. Up, done, and start. Hey, I have all these great tools, okay? I have to use them. It's like, I still hope that someone will ever donate because I have made there a lot of work around that and I have no idea if this is working. Because if you are on that, I don't know if you have ever been on this FlutterExplained.live, that whole website is somehow connected with the streams and everything. And as you can see, you have also the chat running around and you get Twitter feeds now. I mean, geez, we have our logo in a merchandise shop. I have never seen that in my life. Then you have the loyalty with people who are watching the longest. So for example, hey, Amish is 69 points. It's like my, really, if he does something, I have to be fine with him. We have the Discord channel that is connected with the channel that I showed you before with that Fluttertown. No, what was the name? DevTown. And all that stuff. So we are trying to improve all that more and more. So you see, everything is evolving. Make a video on Firebase out for Windows desktop app. So yeah, I can do that. I think if I set up my Windows PC, then we can do that. Thank you, Android. It's like crazy lot of work, but it makes so much fun to work with you guys. It's so cool. Okay, but back to our poll, right? I mean, I created a poll, so everyone wants, we have 1 voter just, geez. You use 3 different accounts, really? That is amazing. I think for YouTube, it's also important that they are from different IP addresses. So you have to turn on your LTE with all the 3 of them or something. Just for fun. Don't do that. Okay. Somehow nothing works as... Okay, somehow I canceled it. I'm sorry for that. But let's go back and try to make it with 2 animations. Yep, so we create our second one. So, but yeah, I have now also 3 accounts and I wasn't ever used before to that. And the problem with 2 or 3 accounts is, wow, Stefan. Thank you. Okay. So you are the first one who ever did that. That's a bit tricky now. Wow, thank you. I don't know what to say. It's crazy because my first coffee that I got, it's like the first money that I receive in months so now, so that's crazy. Thank you. It's like I got my $6 here the first time and I was like, whoa, we got something. And now this, it's like, thank you so much. It helps a lot, believe me. Okay. Now I'm even more nervous. What are you doing with me? Okay, anyway, we have the 2 animations and let's stick with that for now. And with these 2 animations, I have a better idea. 2 animations. How can we start with that? I don't know if you know these Flutter animated widget logo. There is a great, I think Dominic, is that the right one? Yes. So he created somewhere this animation logo and he has created that in a CodePen for us. And why I highly recommend that for multiple things is because it is a fantastic solution how you can have staggered animations in a different way. And somehow it doesn't work as I expected. Can I go to, yeah. I think the poll has been terminated somehow. I'm sorry for that. I tried to restart it. So it should be running now. Once more, I'm sorry. But anyway, for the 2 animations, I think okay, we have here our Google Chrome. And this animation is pretty impressive because he created everything in Flutter first. And second, what you can see is it has like a staggered animation that first comes the bottom part and then the next and then the next and so on. And what he did is the following. He created all these different clips in different frames. So you see here, he commented always the frames into it. And then he says that the curve has a specific interval which is divided by that part. And that helped him to create these animation timings. And this is pretty awesome for that. So this is one option how you can do that. And of course there is more with that, but I like the idea to learn from him. And he created like crazy stuff, like, right? So I add you the CodePen into. Thank you, Stefan. Serious, it's crazy like that. If I can help you more, just give me infos. I really appreciate that. So I have to close the Adobe. I have to close the preview. Must make some space. And now what we can do is we have these 2 tweens, right? Like he has with these tween doubles. And now he says animate, which we also have to do because we don't want to have the tween. We want to have an animation at the end. So curved animation is the word, I think. And the curved animation has a curve that you can select from the curves part. So, and this is pretty cool because if you jump inside, you get these nice little videos and you can open them up and you get these videos that show you how the curve behaves of the animation. So all the different ones of them. So if you go here, you have that ease in, for example, and so on and so forth. So you understand way better how the widgets will behave because they are on the right side. That is a translation, rotation, you have a scale possibility and an opacity here. So let's go to it. So what we can do, or what I want to do, is just take the ease in. And the second thing is the parent. The parent needs to be the animation controller. And in our case, this is this one. Is this correctly? I thought so. Where is now my Chrome? Here. So yeah, the parent is the animation controller. Why was it red? Ah, yeah, sure. Because it is not initialized here, I think. what happened now? I feel a bit baggy right now. Thank you. Shit. Rive is a different approach. I try to go over it. I have to open the window, sorry. So while these are explicit animations, that means we run them in Flutter. Rive is more if you make animations by drawing, for example. So if you have a drawing and so on, then you get that possible. We can do that, Hackerbot. We can do that. What is it? I don't have coffee anymore. Okay, but exactly, we can do all of that, of course. So we have the animation controller, and this animation controller, why is it red? Because we are doing this tween animation outside of the init state, where the animation controller is not yet available, I think. So I can put that down here, and now it works. I hope we have some water here. Okay, back to business. Okay, now we have this animation controller here. And the last thing is the reverse curve. I think we don't need that here. Didn't we have the interval from Dominic? I think he created that inside of the curve. A Slack group, we could help each other there. Yeah, sure, I can do that. Absolutely. And what can we get from the points of the web page? Same level. Let's see, one after another. So first of all, what find on the web page? Well, I think he created a whole introduction, how he created all of these different things, how he created the breakdown, and so on and so forth. That is pretty amazing. For the Slack group, I can think about it. I'm not always convinced because Slack, and we have like crazy amount of everything. Like Slack, I'm like in 5 communities and I'll never be active there because I think even the Flutter community is here. And yeah, I don't really use Slack so much. Yeah, right, more beers. I think the next time I will come with a beer, then everything is a bit more relaxed. Okay, but anyway, we have this curved animation here and they use the interval to change that. So let's see if we can change the frames here. And we go back to our animation controller and he uses not the ease in, he uses that interval part. What is an anim limit? Yeah, here. Yeah, but I think it's too complicated, everything that we do here at the moment. Thank you, really, it is so good to see that my content is helping you, and it's just a joy to work with you, I tell you, it's so good. But my brain is not working anymore. Fantastic. Anyway, so let's have a tween with a beginning of 0 and then an end of 5. And because it's an animation, we have to animate anyway. And we add these parts to the init state because of the parent. So, and this is the animation controller. And also here we have the animate with the curved animation. var to animation. I will do that in a second. No. This is so. I'm really shaking. It's the first time. Thank you guys. So it's really, and this will be an animation. Yeah. So. Okay. Great news, really. Nope, this is not what I want. Okay. we set the curve. I just take an ease in now, and the other one also curves dot ease out. All right, so now we have animations here, first and second. And what we can do is we could check maybe for the staggered animation. And what do we have here? Curved animation. The problem that I see is with that I have really to calculate everything myself. That's pretty hard. 225 min passed? What means that? Did I miss something? No, all good. Okay, we said we want to add somewhere a staggered animation. Maybe today we can use that staggered animation. Wow, it's the first comment that I have to hide because someone wants ass whooping. Jeez, what's wrong with these people? Okay, anyway, staggered animations. What do we have here? We have all this, and after that we can have the opacity, width, and so on. So we have a tween animation, curved animation, and no, it's done with the interval. Of this one? Yeah, sure. Or with this one. I give you both. Both are highly recommended, and also Dominic, really follow him. He's really great. So we have that interval 0.1. Yeah, I ignored it right now, that nobody needs to see that. A poll is going on for what? Yeah, the poll. Jeez, forgot about it. And close the poll. All right, that's this. Yeah, I'm happy that my thinking process helps you. Of course, it's great. Wave animation link with example. Wave animation. I think wave is just something like this, or what do you mean with a wave animation? So if like an image is getting waved all the time, I think Matab is working at the moment on a nice idea. Yeah, really troll alert. It's like crazy. Sorry, it's the first time, as always. But back. I want to develop, right? So first animation, second animation. We do it inside of the curve, right? So we have to create it ourselves. How do we do that? We have that here. Okay, can I bind them? I have to check. How would that work? Okay, ban someone. No, but sorry for that. Just need a minute. Yeah, unban is easy, but ban is hard. Approved user, hidden users, blocked words. So I can maybe add them here. Not that. I have to use the free buttons afterwards. Okay, cool. So Bunter is gone, and now the other one. Who was that? Ashley Nons and hide users. So cool. I hope that works. See you next time, Stefan. Thank you for your work and everything. Really was great. Okay. Now proper? What do you mean with proper? Can I band them more? Ah, yeah. I removed him completely. I even reported them. It's nothing that I like. Okay. So there are draconic problems with me. So interval. So in the interval, we can now set the frames that we want to have in the first parameters, I think. So we have 0.0, and this is most likely the time that the animation controller gives us, like between 0 and 1. So what we can do is 0.0 to 0.5. And then specify the curves that we want to like ease in. And this should now have the animation from 0.5 in an ease in way. And then in the second animation, we could do the same thing with an interval and say something from 0.5 to 1.0. We want to have the curve, for example, bounce in, out. That's something different. Okay. Did I miss anything? Now we have two different animations with two different values, and we have to change the first animation to 2.5. And what we can do, for example, is we could use the first animation where we just set the X value, and then the second value, maybe also do that like here. And what we can do is like, these are both triggered, exactly. We take the first and second animation down here. And like the first animation dot, do we have a value? No. We don't have specified them before. Really beginning problems here. I can do that in a second. Here we go. That is the first animation and animation, second animation. And now I have to delete this, that we can use it down. Up. Subtly. And we have down here first animation dot, and here we can have the value. And here we use the second animation dot value. Subtly. And now with our intervals that they have, this one should happen before this one happens. So the first animation, it should look a bit weird now if we're running it. The value is 0. Okay. I have to restart the app maybe. Okay. So the problem is that these tweens at the moment, these tweens at the moment specified as integer, and we have to set the specified type that they have. And with this, now we should get the right value. Here we go. I think it didn't work like expected, to be honest. Maybe it's a problem because both of them have the same value, but we will check in a second. So what do you want to know from the settings, Jason? I am not sure what I can show you there because I'm working so less in Visual Studio Code. So the settings, Jason, is that where it's just this here, I think, right? And I think I can go to open settings. Yeah, here we go. So this is everything that I use. We use Fira code, of course. Font literature is on true. We have a font size of 16, Monokai. Yes, but then we wouldn't stagger it, right? Because my idea was that in the first 0.5 frames we use that, and then in the next frames we use this. So that was the idea, that we more or less changing first the animation down there and then the other one, but it doesn't work like I expected that. Yes, I know, but as I said, I wanted to have like something staggered, but what we can try is creating a second one. So the first animation will be for the X and Y value, And we create maybe a second animation that will fade slowly, so or make the size bigger. So what we can do is we translate that whole text here behind, and we translate that. I translate dot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's use a container with height width. That's maybe a better option. And transform it was transform.translate. Exactly. And then we can have the child down inside of here. Yep. I wanted to change the size, so scale it is. We can get rid of that. This can be gone. And scale wants to have the scale property. Oh, I'm sorry. So, and scale is what? It's just a double. Okay. So, and the double is at the moment 1. Or better, second animation dot value. So, and what we will see now is here we go. So we see that the first animation, it's not the right way. We should take that, the first animation, and the other one, the second animation, because the second animation is getting triggered later. So we will see first the text, and after that we will see that it's getting blurry. So first the text, and then it's getting blurry. So you can see with that we can stagger the animations. Okay. We can also use a container for that. So if we remove this part here, then we have the text here, and we just, you mean just the container? Yeah, perfect. I'm sorry. So what we can take is just a container that has a height and a width. And what I also will give it is a color, just to make it visible. So, and to make it staggered, so we will first increase the height. So we will take the first animation dot value times 5 and the second animation dot value times 5. And now you will see the animation is going first higher, and after a while the animation gets in that direction. The problem is still that the stack is in the way. So I will remove that for now. Keep it and just comment that out. Wait, anyway. And times 5 seems to be a bit small, so let's increase the number here. Okay, maybe it's too light. Yep. Perfect. So, and now you can see we have first nothing, and after that it's coming out. And if we put a text underneath here, you will see that the first animation puts the whole thing, the height increasing, and after a while the width is increasing. But to be frank, instead of using a container for these animations, I would highly recommend you to use the animated container for that. Because that is even easier. Because now if the height and width is changing, it will automatically do the animation for you. I can do that. That would be here. Instead of bounce in, we just say ease. And okay. And the animated controller needs a duration. I'm so confused myself. I'm so sorry. Okay, so but now with the ease in, it's way easier. But you can see at the moment there is nothing to see at the first. So what I will do is I will add 10 in the beginning so that we can see at least a line of 10. So what you will see is we get the line that's increasing, and after a while the second is increasing, the width is getting increasing. And that's it. That is a staggered animation. It's pretty cool to use. And if we would use that in a animation container, we will need that later, but animated container, we can also specify a duration, like for example, seconds, free. We can say the height and the width. And what now will happen is, as soon as we start the application, that animation should be triggered, I think. Or do we have to execute there something? I wasn't not sure anymore. Duration with how did that work? Instead of seconds. How was the animated container? I have to take another look. Animated container. Flutter. Was it with the bar? Yeah, could be. So I do that. We create. Not in the build. I will do that up here for our state, right? So we will be here and have an integer height that is 100, and we have an integer width that is 100. And what I will do now is I have to change that. Okay, so what I will do is I will use a fab icon for that, and that is part of the scaffold. So floating action button, floating action button. We have an tab on that. And now we will change our height and width. Correct. And as, yep, Hamish, you are absolutely right. It's a double. Up, double. And now instead of using 100 and 100, we can use height and width. And the animation controller will automatically understand that it needs 3 seconds to change these values. Now, yep, you're right. And I think I don't even need something. I can just use the app bars, but let's take that one. So and what we will do is height setting to, what can we do with a nice animation? We take the height and multiply it by itself, height times 2. And with that, it's getting with every click a bit bigger. And the width is getting increased by, getting smaller by 0. Or 1.5, then it's getting bigger. So how does it look in our easy counter? If I click that fab button, I should give the container a color. I think that makes sense. Colors.red. So and as you see, the first 3 seconds, it's getting grown up. Whenever I click now, nothing happens anymore. Set state. Okay, it's getting time for me to go to bed. All right, now it's too big. What is because of the state? Yeah, cool. So if I press now the button, we see it's increasing and increasing, and that's always in 3 seconds terms. So that is pretty cool. And Kölsch time, absolutely. I'm not close to Kölsch, but when I'm coming there, it will be a Kölsch, I promise. Yeah, but so you have the multiple ways of creating different animations, and I'm a big fan of the explicit animations. It's very good that we have these tweens, because the tween has so many options. Like, we made only these parts, but what we can also have is like a color animation. This is now a very quick one, but we can have a tween between colors, where we have a beginning of a color 0.xf, which is, I do it white now. And the end should be the color which is black. So go for that. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One is missing. Voila. And we animate this one too in a curved animation. Animation. And inside of here we have again our parent and everything. And I add that up here. Voila. And this curved animation has now a parent again, which is the animation controller, and a curve, which is in our case just a basic curve dot ease in. So the cool thing about this is now if we use the value here, instead of using our red color, then it will transform that in an animation, which is fantastic. It looks really, really good. And let's see, I think I didn't start that now. And I have to restart, of course. Color has no instance method. Instance of color. What happened now? Was it a specific tween? Color tween? Ah, it was a specific tween. My fault, sorry. So yeah, we have a specific tween called color tween, and this one has now the option to give us that nice little color change. So it is white, and after a while it's getting dark. And it changes back to white. That's interesting. It has the animate. It has no parent. That's the problem. Oh, no, it has the parent. The animation controller is going forward, but why is it going backwards? Okay, interesting. Colors.red, and what is the object? So, and we could have the colors.green, for example. And if we hot reload, red and green. Yeah. Does it go back? No, that's good. All right. Yeah, and with this, you have the possibility to change the colors, the states, to have the analytics, but everything should be a part of a widget, right? So if you want to make it as a part of a widget, it's perfectly fine to use that. I think with cliprect, you can also create cool stuff with that. But if you want to have a more larger part, so like very big animations, I would highly recommend to take a look into Rive app, because Rive is more there for like, yeah, animating of different parts, like for example that ice beer that you most likely have seen already, or yeah, like the Jack, if you have seen the Flutter app that they introduced in 2019, I think. So this is a real animation of a model, right? Where you have bones, where you have different layers of the graphic, where you have also different arts of animation. So idle, success, working are different parts of an animation. So you take the same model, but you do different animations from them. And then Rive comes into play. What is the use of points on Flutter? That is a good question. Actually, I wanted to talk with you that before we close that session today. Maybe we can do that. Because as I told you already, we have these loyalty points. And actually, I would like to have something like, if we make a voting or anything, you can pay something with these loyalty points. At the moment, I don't have there a store, but what I thought is like, for example, if you got 1,000 points or something, you get maybe a t-shirt or something like that, or stickers or whatever. I don't know yet. So this is just ideas. And if you have better ideas, what we could do with these things, so it would increase the voting, for example. It would give you some opportunities to spend them, of course. And then you have the option to work with that stuff. And I don't know yet how exactly this will work, but this is my main idea at the moment. It's getting exponential, you know, Arvin. So the first time you get it very easily, and after that it's getting ridiculously high. Yeah, but this is the main idea of that whole website so far. I don't actually have so many ideas, or I have a lot of ideas, but I have so less time to create everything. So I can show you maybe a bit of the Streamlabs, how it works at the moment. So there will be like giveaways. You have this loyalty stuff where you have the different parts with the store that you can put everything inside, and so on and so forth. There's so much stuff that I have to still discover and find some ideas what we can do. Yeah, we are still completely at the beginning. So we are at the start of the journey, and this is amazing that you are part of it. But as you have maybe recognized, my channel is still pretty small with 1,700 subscribers. And yeah, we still figure everything out. We don't know how the streams is working. I mean, we do now 2 hours long streams and we are doing them as good as we can. But still, it's like, okay, what can we improve? Where do we find better ideas? And so on and so forth. And we are getting bigger and bigger. And with that, our ideas getting also bigger. And I think you will find that all the time whenever we find a new idea. I mean, Flutter News is, for example, a good idea that we encourage to use more and do more. And I think, yeah, at the end, it's important that we all have something for that. And I don't know if I can make that promise already, but next week we have something that is really special on next Tuesday. We are not sure if this is working out yet, but we are working with another... I don't know if I can say that, but we are working with someone together, and hopefully we find a cool solution that will bring you more value from not our own from this channel, but also from our expertise or what we can do. You are very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so FlutterExplained community, FlutterExplained family, I want to say. I think I'm pretty much done. Thank you so much for joining today, as always. Give me your feedback to everything. It is amazing. If I can improve, I'm happy. And I would say see you next time. See ya, guys. Cheers to the next beer and to the next Kölsch. See ya.